to on their backs. I'm sorry, not on your backs. We're going to be on our butts or our seat, glutes, whatever you feel most comfortable calling it. We're going to actually start with patellar cars. So the patella is this loose feeling thing on top of your knee that kind of holds your knee together. And what we're going to do is move it around. So the thing about, how do I put this? You can't control your patella per se. You can't control it with your brain, but there's a bunch of tissue that connects to it that's still alive. So we're going to innervate that tissue, if you will, by physically, mechanically moving the kneecap around. So if you're facing your right kneecap, okay, so to make this as simple as possible, you're looking at your right knee, the top of your knee is going to be 6 o'clock, and then the bottom half of your knee is 12. So the part closest to your shin is 12 o'clock. 6 o'clock is going to be the part closest to your upper thigh. Okay, so we're going to go from pushing the kneecap toward 12, so towards the foot, and then you're going to pull the kneecap towards 6. Now you're not trying to pull into pain, but you're just trying to move it around a little bit. So we're going to go 12 to 6, and then we're going to try to go from 11 to 5, 10 to 4. Doesn't have to be perfect, but somewhere in that ballpark. 9 to 3. I don't know if you've been to a couple of these, but I don't know what a clock face looks like, so I usually forget. 8 to 2, 7 to 1, and then you should end up back where you came. And that's just a patellar car. You're just trying to get some movement through that kneecap, side to side, front to back, diagonally, again, just to wake up the tissue in there, because your tissues are alive, because you're alive. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. If it doesn't move at all, try to soften the knee a little bit. If it moves a lot, okay, so sometimes you might have lax joints. You can actually slide your kneecap almost off. Don't do that either. So if it's really, really loose, don't pull into it further, but just get it moving. And we're gonna do the same thing. So again, maybe a little soft bend in that knee might help. We're gonna pull from 6 to 12, and then 5 to 11, 4 to 10, 3 to 9, and try to make it so your leg's not going side to side. 2 to 8, I almost forgot. 1 to 7, back to 12 to 6. Good job. That's it, just waking up the kneecap. We're gonna go straight into a knee car. So you can do this if you want on the floor, so you can lay all the way flat, or you can do this sitting up like I'm about to do. Something to keep in mind, you might notice I look like a cat as I do this. I don't really care. My back is fine. It doesn't hurt. I'm not trying to do a knee car like this. It doesn't matter if I look like I'm rounded. I'm not doing anything. As long as it's not in pain, I don't care what you look like while you do this. I just want you to be able to use the stuff that I'm telling you to use. So in this case, we're gonna go knee car. If you've not done this, you're gonna take your left hand and grab underneath this left chunk of your thigh. You'll feel a tendon under here. That's your hamstring tendon. I want you to grab it. And then on the underside of the right thigh, or right side of the left thigh, we're gonna grab there too. You're doing like an underhook to grab both sides. We're gonna go into tibial external rotation. So what that looks like is you're going to rotate the shin all the way out to the side. You're going to try and extend the knee while you keep that line of tension. You're going to internally rotate and maximally pull in, trying to maintain internal rotation. If you're lost, stay here, stay at 90 degrees, and just rotate from side to side and try to tease out as much of your foot as you can. Don't let your foot make it look like you're doing this. So for instance, I can crank my foot up to the sky, but I'm not actually using my shin at that point, or I'm not using my knee. I'm using my shin, I'm not using my knee. So the foot basically stays flat-ish. If I do it from the side, you'll notice it won't curl very much. it's just going side to side. So I have pretty good control of my knee that way. Okay, so again, if you're lost, stay there. Everyone else, we're gonna do backward. You're gonna go internal as much as you can. Try not to use your foot like I am. Try to just use your shin. Kick, external, pull. And we're gonna go back the way we came. External, kick, internal, pull, internal, kick, external, pull. Just like that. And so when we look at the knee, we look at it, it flexes and extends. It also rotates. So to give you an example, when we look at the forearm and the arm, they're very similar. It obviously flexes, it extends, it also rotates, right? So supination, pronation, a lot of that musculature comes from the upper arm. In fact, your bicep is a major supinator of your hand. So, or your forearm. When you go like this movement over, you'll feel your biceps actually strongly involved. That's because its prime motion is actually supination. It's not elbow flexion. So if you look at this muscle right here, its primary function is literally to turn the forearm over. It is not to flex the elbow. It does elbow flexion secondarily, technically. So it's its function mostly is actually to flip the arm over. And just like your hamstring helps you pivot the shin side to side. So this big muscle back here is actually responsible for using your knee. So we're gonna do that same thing on the right side. We're gonna just go side to side so you can feel that out, rotating the shin side to side as best as you can. And then when you're ready, we're just gonna go one time in each direction. So external, kick, internal, down. And then we're going internal, kick, external, down. Again, one more, external, internal, internal, external. Okay, and we're just trying to loosen up the knees a little bit. And then from there, we're gonna go straight into ankles. So the goal here is actually to not use anything but the ankle. The shin should stay remote, like relatively still. So if you have really good rotation through your shin, you might try to use that as you use your ankle. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna try my best not to. So we're gonna gas pedal the foot and we're just gonna go one circle in each direction. What you're gonna try to do is draw the biggest circle you can with your big toe, starting from 6 o'clock going clockwise. So left foot, 6 o'clock is gas pedaling the foot down. And then you're gonna try to go 7, 8, 9, 10, you're pulling the foot towards your shin. 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and for me, that's very hard to do. So my ankle needs a lot of work. My shin kicked into gear a lot. So my knee started to rotate to make up for the fact that I couldn't move my ankle. They're connected, they're gonna move a little, but the whole point is I shouldn't have to move my whole knee to get my ankle to move. Okay, so we're gonna reverse 6 o'clock, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 12. I forgot how the clock works. 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Okay, so it should, in a fast motion, look something like that. We're just trying to make as big of a circle as possible. I'm gonna go to the right side. If this feels choppy or weird, it's not uncommon because we don't really pay attention to our ankles that much. They move a lot. They should be one of the more mobile joints in the body, but for whatever reason, we just beat them to death and then hope that they work. And after this, we're actually going to do toes for the first time. No one's done toes with me before, so everyone is going to be like, "What the heck's going on?" Because we're going to use our toes, and it's going to be foreign. Okay, so gas pedal this right foot. We're going to draw a circle starting at 6, going clockwise. 7, 8, 9, trying not to rotate the shin, all the way around as big of a circle as you can make. And then reverse 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I'm just not even paying attention to where my foot is, and you got it. And you can quickly go around just so you can kind of get that sensation again. And that's it. You're just trying to make as big of a circle as you can to the ankle. I'm going to stand for this one. We're going to do some toe cars. How do we do that? Well, I wish I had a button I could zoom in on this. I can't. So I want everyone to pick up all of their toes and try to splay them out as wide as they can. And I have one foot is better than the other, so I'll be able to kind of show you. Hopefully you can see my feet. I'm going to cut myself off a little bit, actually. Let's do it right here. So we're going to go all the toes up. We're going to start by trying to touch the pinkies down alone. And then the ring finger, ring toe, I don't know what you call that. Third digit, fourth, big toe. We're going to try to keep all the toes locked to the floor, and we're going to lift just the big toes. So I want you to push down into the floor and try to pay attention if your ankles are rolling in and out. Okay, so you're going to try and invert to get some of the toes up, or evert to get the big toe up. You should have a somewhat neutral ankle. So a little collapsing is okay, but if you go like this to try to lift your toes, don't do that. Okay, try to fight it. Also, if you have a stick, you might have to use it, and I'll explain in a second, but everyone's going to push their toes down like they're gripping the floor with their feet, and then we're going to lift the big toes straight up, best you can, and then set them back down. Same thing, big toe goes up, try not to roll out, and then right back down. This is the tough one, try not to roll in. You're going to push the big toes down and lift all the toes up. Okay, and mine don't work. So a lot of times when I do this and I try to show people, I end up being like, just do it, just go. Push the toes, big toes down, other toes all the way up, high as you can go. Trying not to roll in, set them down gently, all the toes up, big toe down first, and then the rest of the toes follow suit. All the toes up, splay them out as far as they can go. Try not to move your ankles. Touch down the pinkies. Gently go one at a time all the way in. Big toes go up. If you're lost, it's okay. Big toe goes down. Big toe stay down. Lift all the rest. Come on. Do it. You can do it. And then gently put them down. Sorry, I have to talk myself through this one. And that's it. So if you're sitting there like trying to figure out what the heck to do with your feet, it's not uncommon. We just kind of ignore our toes for some reason. Your big toe is probably one of the most important things in your body that you just don't even pay attention to. As soon as it's gone, you would completely change your life. Okay, it's such a small thing. I've had clients with injuries to big toes or completely missing big toes, and it affects literally everything. Just on one foot even. It affects low back, hips, knees, even neck. So you have to have some control of your big toe. It's the first thing that hits the ground when you're sprinting and you're running. There's a lot of nerve endings in your feet. So we don't want to ignore your feet completely. I just don't do it as much in KINSTRETCH because people tend to tune out because they're like, why the heck am I spending so much time on my toes? But realistically, you should be able to use your toes similar to how you use your hands. Not exactly, not the same dexterity, but on that level. Okay, we're going to go a little faster through the rest of the body because all this is pretty common. We're going to go through neck. So we're going to just relax the upper body. We're going to go chin to chest. Drag that chin across the right collarbone. Pour water out of the right ear over that right shoulder. Head goes back and around to the back and left. Chin tucks down to that left collarbone and swoops through. Try to relax the shoulders. Go all the way around again. Chin goes down. Drag across to the left. Pour water out of the left ear all the way back and around to the back and the right. Chin comes down and in. In case you need a visual from the side, when I say drag the chin, you're going all the way. And then you're pouring water over that ear to the back. And that head brushes across the sky. And we're looking at how much you can actually articulate your neck joint. So there's more to it than that. Technically, there's protraction, retraction, being able to peek your head forward, pull it back is also a function of your neck. That's not necessarily as encompassed in that, but in any case, we're going to go straight to spine. Spine is going to look exactly like the neck. The only difference is there's more stuff that can move. So I want you to just try to pay attention as best as you can. We're going to lock the hips in place. You can even grab a block if you have one, squeeze it in between the knees, create a little bit more tension. And let's start with the spine. So we're going to flex the spine forward. If you have two dots here, we're going to try and connect them, get them closer together. Spine flexion, that's your rectus abdominis, that's your abs. So to flex your spine standing, that should be able to get this to actually engage. Normally you engage your abs isometrically, so you squeeze. You should be able to flex them, your spine forward, just like you were able to flex your arm. There's no difference. It's just not common, so you don't do it. So I'm going to show you from the side. It's a very small amount of movement. I'm flexing, my abs are engaged, okay? We're gonna hold that position. You should feel your abs light up. You might even feel your back on stretch because you're flexing your core so hard on the front. We're gonna turn to the left. When you turn, you're actually using your obliques to turn. So you should feel all of your abs. And then you're gonna laterally flex to the back and left. Slowly, don't move the hips. If you have a block, squeeze it. Then you're going to extend the spine. Don't push the hips forward. To the back and right. If you moved your hips, reposition them. Fight for more lateral flexion to the back and right. Turn to your right. And finish down. I'm going to do that from the front relatively quickly so you can see it. You go down, you turn, laterally flex, extend, other side, turn, in. It's the same movement. You're just going through all the motions in one. We're going to go to the right. You're going to flex that spine. Arms, I put my arms up so that I know what I'm doing with my shoulders. Okay, I have good shoulder mobility and good control. That is not spine flexion. That's all shoulder. So when they're up here, I can kind of tell where if I'm dropping my arms, I'm probably not actually flexing. Spine, arms, the whole point. If you find yourself doing this and then you're doing a lot of stuff that's not your spine. So we're trying to remove the hips, remove the shoulders, remove the neck, just use upper spine, lower back. Here we go. We're flexing, turning to the right, laterally flexing to the right, backing around to the left, down, and in. And just do this a little bit quicker, trying to see if you're trying to pay attention to what's moving through your hips. That's usually the biggest culprit. Just go down, little bit of flexion to the left, back and left, back and around to the right. Did you move your hips? I did. Back and around to the right, turn, down, and same thing, flex, right, back and right, around, down. See, even I'm moving my hips. It's hard. It's hard to just isolate that spine. From here, we're going into shoulders. Okay, we're gonna start scapula. You're gonna go shoulder blades. We're going up to the sky. Arms will stay locked at your pockets. We're not gonna use our upper arms. We're just using our shoulder blades to move. So we're gonna keep these at our sides and in our pockets. We're gonna elevate, protract, depress, retract. We're going to cut the corners and try to make as much room through those shoulder blades as we can. We go up, forward, down. I don't know if you heard my whole body crack, and back, up, forward, down, back. We're going to stay up. We're going to go back, down, forward, up. One more time, back, down, forward, up. Good. Elbows. We're going to take our arms. We're going to keep this crease facing forward. We're going to maximally flex the elbow. When we do that, we're going to try to supinate as much as we can. So what does that mean? That means that our forearm is going to be rotating all the way out as far as it can go, like you're holding a can of soup on your hand. So you're going to lock the elbows. You're going to maximally supinate those arms or those forearms, and you're going to flex in. You're going to go through pronation. I'm going to show you on one side. Pronation can look like you're turning your wrist over, or it can look like you're hinging a door. I want you to do that version. I want you to go from here all the way over as far as you can go into pronation. Now, if you're squeezing hard enough and you pronate, you should feel your forearms actually firing. You're going to maintain that tension as you continue down. Now, pay attention to your upper arms. Are they starting to turn, or your elbow is starting to go out? That's a sign that you can't pronate. If you play any sports, if you play golf, ping pong, table tennis is the same thing as ping pong, tennis, pickleball, any of those sports that require you to actually move your forearm, and you can't do that, you're going to burden your elbow, you're going to burden your shoulder. All those injuries come from most people lacking control of their elbow. Okay, so if we're looking at elbow, we're looking at the muscles in the forearm and upper arm and how they actually make the elbow do stuff. So if you go up and you flip and you're down and you feel like this happens, take that as a sign that you definitely need to work on your forearms. Okay, we're gonna start by going pronation, flip it all the way over, curl up, squeezing as hard as you can. You're gonna flip all the way out, and then you're gonna go back down. I'm gonna get a little closer here so that you can see. The arm doesn't move at the side. You go up, you're supinating as far as you can. Flip over, down, staying in pronation, you go up. You're trying to fight for max pronation. So I'm trying to continue pronating the whole way that I'm coming up. Flip, supination, down. One more time. We go up. We're squeezing, pronate, down, up, maxing out pronation. I'm still trying to fight to turn this over the whole way. I flip into supination, down. Nice job. Not easy. Wrists. Here we go. We're almost done. Wrists are forearm faces up. You're going to adduct the wrist. What does that mean? If you have your hands faced up next to each other, they're going to come closer together. When you do this, try not to let your forearm rotate over. Okay, so that's pronation. That's not wrist adduction. We're trying to get as much of those to separate. You're going wrist in. Wrist flexes by coming up. Notice if your forearm starts to move or if you're turning your shoulder. We're going to abduct the wrist. It's going to go out to the sides. It barely does that. It won't move very far. And then we're going to extend all the way down. I'm going to show you from the side. So we're going adduction, flexion, abduction, extension. Get a little closer. Angle my body. We're going adduction, extension, abduction, flexion. Keep going. Adduction, extension. Try not to let your forearm twist. Abduction, flexion. Now we're going to go backwards again. We're going flexion, abduction out to the side, extension, adduction. Good. Now, what should happen? Forearms should actually be firing up. Why? Because they help you move your wrist. They also help you move your elbow. But you want to be able to do them independently so that when you're doing things, whether you're using your wrist and your elbow at the same time, they're functioning well together. You're not just burdening one versus the other. So that's why we check those out when we do things like cars. If that was completely foreign, talk to me after. Okay, so there's probably a good chance you have a motor control issue with your wrist, aka something is wrong with it, or you just don't know how to use it. Or if you're having any pinchiness or pain while you're doing that, let me know, because we can talk about things that you could potentially do to test out of it to see if it's something that you can work on at home. So for instance, if you try to extend your wrist and it hurts, goes down, as you can see, it's not very good. I have a lot more passive range. I can pull it pretty far back. I can do a test to kind of maneuver that into more extension if I want. So if I'm stuck here, there's a chance I could get it better over time by doing a couple quick drills. or you might need to see someone if you're like stuck here and your wrist is pinching a ton. So, okay, we did neck, we did spine, shoulders, scaps, elbows, wrists, hips, knees, patellar, ankle, toe. We did all of it. Awesome. We're going straight into side lying stuff. So I'm going to get everyone on their left side. I'm going to turn this. If you have a yoga block, you can grab it here. We're going to do right hip, right shoulder. So what this is going to do is challenge the tissue in a different way because gravity is pulling us toward the floor sideways. So we're going to start actually by doing a shoulder car. It's kind of weird. Never done this before. You're going to take the right arm and you're going to, oh, we didn't do shoulders. Darn, we're going to do shoulders here. Dang it. All right. We're going shoulders here. So what does that look like? You're going to take your arm. Wow, we're going to do it standing. All right, really quickly, because there's someone new here that hasn't done this. Shoulder car. We're going to go external rotation of that shoulder, hug it in, bring it up. The whole time you're doing this, you're trying to lock this arm out, keep the ribs down, and we're going to hug this arm towards our midline until we get stuck at the top. Once we're there, we internally rotate and we backstroke all the way around. And then we reverse with our thumb behind us because we're maximally internally rotated. Back, unwind, up, and around. I'm going to do that on the left side real quick. So we're going up, around, backward, unwind, in and around. Good. I can't tell if some of you are still laying on the floor or not. I'm going to do it on the floor with you and walk you through it. So we're going side lying shoulder car. For this, your arm obviously is going to hit the ground. For some of you, your shoulder blade should not crash forward. So you want to think of yourself as in a nice straight line. You could even grip into a block here to keep your hips from moving. We're taking this right arm. We're going to sweep it up and in. Now, when you're here, it actually should be pretty tough to do. You might even feel your pec firing for the first time, but I want you pulling this toward the ground with a locked out elbow. You're going to drop your head, raise the arm up, keeping this from moving. Don't let your shoulder blade rise. You don't want your shoulder to basically hug over your ear. You want your shoulder blade to stay where it is. So you're going to sweep up here. You're going to internally rotate, make your way all the way around and back. And then we're going to do that again, going backward, unwind, all the way around and down. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, type it in chat or unmute yourself. We're going to do it one more time. Right arm comes up. Relax the head. Internally rotate. I'm hitting stuff behind me all the way around. And then backward the way we came. Trying not to let our torso twist behind us like I'm doing. So you should have a nice straight spine. All the way up, over and down. So it's a little bit harder to feel when stuff compensates because you're on your side. So I wasn't even paying attention because I was trying to tell you what to do, but my chest just opened up like this. That's not the goal. I want you to keep your chest forward. It's much harder that way to go like this, like that, without moving my actual spine backward, because then it's more like one of those windmill exercises where you're just opening up your shoulder and spine. Okay, from here, we're going hip. So what I want you to do is, if you have a block, use it. We're going right hip. You're going to bring that knee up as high as you can, hug it towards your armpit. So you're thinking right knee, right armpit. You're going to abduct the hip. You're going to try and keep this at 90. And then you're going to internally rotate as far as it will go and hurdle it around all the way behind you, and the knees come together. From there, you're going to kick back max out internal rotation. So you're going to try and pull that foot up high as it can go. Raise that leg up, still pulling that foot to the sky. And back the way you came. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So we're going up, pushing up, knee flexes, abducts, internal rotation, all the way around and in. You're going to kick back. Foot is raising toward the sky. You're trying to internally rotate higher. Hurdle, up and down. The block is helpful. If you push down, you're creating a counter movement. So you're allowing more tension to drive this way so that your hips and shoulders aren't opening up in the other direction. So we're trying not to do something where the hips actually shift. So if I do something like this, that's not the goal. You want your hips facing forward. 1 more time. Knee goes up, out. Keep a bend in this knee. Internal rotation. Hurdle. Kick back. Knee goes up. And good. We're going to kick this knee up. We got knee cars. So we're going to do this just the rotation. So these are knee rotations. They're not actually cars. We're going to call these knee axial rotations. You're going to keep that leg flexed, and I want it in line with your hip. Don't let your knee drop to the floor. Keep it straight. We're going to rotate that shin out. We're going to rotate that shit in. I think I just said shit instead of shin. I'm sorry. We're going to go shin all the way out. Shin all the way in. All the way out. Don't let that knee move. All the way in. 1 more. All the way out. And all the way in. Nice job. Good. We're going to flip on the floor. It's hard for me to talk face down. I'm going to do the best that I can. We're going to go through quickly through the spine. We're going to imagine that we're peeling our spine from our upper back all the way up to our lower back, 1 vertebrae at a time. You're not going to use your hands, and you're not just going to dump in your low back. I want you to peel slowly. So tuck the chin. We're going to try and lift that upper back off. And then we're just going to keep peeling all the way up. Make sure your ribs stay down a little bit. And then I want you to just lift as high as you can. You can squeeze your glutes here to lock yourself in place. And then we're going to lower slow. 1 vertebrae at a time. Back the way we came. 1 more time. Again, this is kind of awkward if you're not used to doing something like this. We're just trying to peel our spine into extension from the top all the way back. So you'll feel the lower back loading, but it should be the last thing to load. It shouldn't just start cranking at the very beginning. So chin is tucked, upper back lifts. Start to peel. Try not to use your shoulders. High as you can go. Not lifting your feet, not lifting your hips. And then down slow. Good, nice job. We're going straight into hip cars. We're going to do this with the right hip. Knee is going to stay bent. You're going to push your left foot into the floor to create resistance. So if you want, you can even keep that knee bent, but we're creating 2 directions of force. Left knee pushes down, right knee is going to lift. Lower back should be relaxed. If you can't relax it, then I want you to barely pick it up. But I want everyone else lifting as high as they can in a straight line. We're going to go internal rotation. That's not right. We're going external rotation. Hurdle. And reverse. Internal. And down. Because you're able to lock more of your body into place and you're using the very back end of your end range, You won't move very much. Some of you might not be able to move at all. Just try your best to actually use your hip. Keep the knee bent at 90. So we're going to lift, external rotation, out, back, hurdle, internal, and down. One more time. Straight up. Push that left knee down. Externally rotate, hurdle, back, internal, down. Whew, nice job. From there, we're going into a right side shoulder car. This is tough to do. So we're going to start in the hardest position with our arm straight in front of us. Shoulder blade is being pulled kind of back. You're not actually going to shrug it. So I don't want your shoulder touching your ear. I want your right arm straight though. Okay. If you have a block, you can put it between your knees to squeeze. I'm actually going to pull into the couch a little bit with my feet, and I'm going to lift this right arm off the ground. From here, we're going to internally rotate, go all the way back and around, bring our hand to our pocket, and then go backward. So thumbs facing up, the shoulders internally rotated, up, unwind, back the way we came. Now, if you're wondering why this is so hard, it's because you can't twist your spine. So you can't shift your weight over to your left. You can only use your right. You're going to do it again. Up, internal, all the way and around. Thumb stays up. Reach, unwind, and down. One more time. Up, internal, around, lock that elbow out, reach that arm into the back pocket, reach back, unwind, and down. Nice job. Okay, we're going to flip over to our right side, and we're going to go through that shoulder car now that I can actually do it without having to hit something with my arm. So I'm going to do this a little bit more aggressively on this side. I'm actually going to bring my knees up a little bit and curl. So this arm, we're going to bring it external rotation. So it should look like you're trying to karate chop the floor all the way up. We're going to relax the head so that you can clear it. You're going to internally rotate all the way around, not moving that spine, and then back the way we came. That's much harder. Hopefully I didn't lose you. Again, up, over, keep this facing forward, keep your logo on your chest facing forward, all the way around, big circle. And one more. Up, around. My shoulder is popping a ton, feels good. Around, unwind, and good. It also allows you to kind of feel what it's like to get in to that shoulder at the top end where you normally wouldn't. So in other words, when you're here and you're going around, this arm is hugging a lot more to your midline because gravity's pulling it that way. So it's kind of exposing ranges that you normally wouldn't be able to maybe access standing, but can also make it a little bit more challenging in some ways. So that's the idea behind it. Again, we're just changing the resistance profile of the exercise a little bit, but still doing the same thing. We got hip cars. Hip goes up, knee goes up, knee goes out. This is abduction. You should feel the glute. The knee doesn't move, but we're going to rotate the femur inside the socket so the foot goes up. And then we're going to hurdle it around. I'm actually going to grip this table. And then we're going to go backward. High as we can go behind us. Internal, hurdle, Again, same thing. We're going knee goes up, knee goes out, internal rotation, hurdling, hurdling. You should feel your glute all the way. And then we bring it back. We internally rotate the whole way up. And we do it again. Up, out, internal, hurdle, backward, internal rotation. We're trying to keep this foot higher than the knee as we go up. And good. Knee comes out to knee cars. We're going right here. We're going to go external rotation through that knee, internal rotation through that knee. And you're just going to go 5 times back and forth, trying to turn that shin as much as you can without just using your foot. 3. My internal's tough here. 4. 4. 5. 5. And good. We're going to flip face down. We're going through the hip first. We did the spine already. We're going to do a little more spine at the end. So we're going to tuck the chin. Left knee bends. Drive it to the sky. External rotation and hurdle. Resist as you go back. Bring it down. I have my hands out to my side to create more stability. You're welcome to do that as well. So we're going up to the sky, trying to find that glute, that hamstring, external rotation, that knee stays where it is. The foot hugs to the midline. Hurdle, reverse, internal, down, one more, up, external, out, reverse, down. We got shoulders. Left arm goes up. Internal rotation. All the way around. Backward. Try not to twist over to your right. Here we go. Up. Around. You're trying to make as much space in the shoulder as you can without hurting it. We go backward. One more. Up. Reverse. And nice job. We're doing good. So these are just all rotations, the whole thing. You should start to feel a little looser though. So hips, shoulders, back, everything should start to feel a little better. We're going to go kneeling. So we're going to end up hands and knees. If this hurts your wrist, you can make fist for wrist. It's up to you. You can also roll up a mat and create more of an angle by simply putting the palm of the wrist down, and this should be fine. So for instance, if you have trouble extending your wrist, this might be a good position for you to roll up the mat on. Okay, we're going to go neck car. We're going chin to chest, drag across to the right, pour water out of that right ear. Head goes back to the back and left and hugs down. Chin goes down, hugs to the left, back and left, back and right, and down. Okay, cat cow. You've done this before. We're going to do segmental cat cow. We're going to try our best. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get neutral. We're going to go into cow first. You're just going to allow everything to kind of sink down. Try not to let your shoulder blades move. You're just trying to get lower back, mid back, upper back toward the floor. And then cat is going to be up to the sky. So we're going to go through a couple of those nice and slow, up and down. I feel like I look like the Karate Kid all the way up. Not as cool though, all the way down. Okay, so we're going to find cow. Everyone is going to be in as much extension as they can be in. I know it's kind of hard to see because I'm wearing all black. what we're gonna do, let me see if I can shift forward a little bit. Here we go. Is we're gonna try to get our lower back to actually go up to flexion by itself. So we're gonna get this very last vertebrae towards your sacrum to go up to the sky, then the next, then the next. And we're gonna segment and try to do that all the way up the back. And then we're rounded all the way up into cat. We're gonna try and go down, starting from our upper back. So we're gonna start to segment on the way down as much as we can. So if you're really good at this, you essentially start from the lower back and go all the way up into cat, and then you all the way down into cow. And we're gonna do that a couple times. So if you can reach your lower back, it might help to put your hand there so you can feel it. We're gonna go first, lifting this lower back all the way up into cat as high as it can go, then the next, and then all the way up slowly as you can go, maxing out cow, locking those elbows. Now, if you're using your spine to get into cow or cat and you're flexing, I'm going to let you think about this. What would you feel working if you're flexing all the way up into cat? The muscles that help you get into cat should be firing because you're not using the floor to push yourself there. You're actually trying to flex your spine. And when you extend, we're going to go down from the top. Other muscles help you pull down. Good, and then just go through a couple normal cat-cows at your own pace, still using your abs, your lower back, your spinal erectors, all the muscles around your spine to help you do that. And relax. Good. To answer your question or the hypothetical, if you're going into cat, you're using your abs to pull yourself there, technically, because you're using all these muscles on the front side to fully flex and pull everything into a ball. So if you look at yourself face down and you're doing a crunch, it should look similar to cat, technically, in some ways. So your abs should actually fire to pull your spine into further flexion. When you're in yoga and you do this, you typically just kind of crank through both directions and it feels kind of good. That's fine. But we want to create more of a sensory input into your body that says you have control of your spine. You're not just pushing it wherever you feel like it should go. Okay, we don't do that for anything else. So there's no reason to just treat our spine any differently. If anything, you should be looking at your spine even more closely and making sure you have full control of it because it's so important. Not just being like, well, I'll just keep it immobile like a rod. Okay, some people, obviously, we just had someone in class on Monday who has a full fusion, probably upper thoracic all the way to lumbar. So basically all the way through their spine, it's just fused. So it basically is like a rod. For the rest of us, we're trying to not get to that point. So you want to have full control of your spine front to back. The better control you have, the healthier your spine will be. Okay, that's the only time we're going to do that today because we're almost done with class. So here we go. We're going into hip cars. We're going to start on the right side. You're going to pull that knee up toward your chest. When you do this, you're not going to move your other hip and you're not going to move your spine. It's going to abduct. It's going to go out to the side. Your foot is going to try to maximally internally rotate as well. So you're trying to bring that foot above the knee if you can as you hurdle all the way around. And then we reverse, we kick back, we externally rotate, we hurdle, fighting for more internal all the way around until we're back at our side. I'm going to do this from the front. Right knee goes up, out, internal and hurdle, around and down, kick back, external, fight for internal the whole way though, and in, straight to right side shoulder car. Try not to move your spine, try to keep it tight. Right arm comes up, internal rotation, all the way around. We're locking that elbow, hugs it into the midline, unwinds, back and around, flipping this way. Okay, if you want to sit back a little bit, you totally can. It doesn't bother me at all. In fact, it might make it harder, especially to flex. Up, internal. Reverse, up, external. One more. Up, internal, hug that arm to the sky, high as you can go, down, thumb stays up, unwind, back the way you came. Whew. All right, we got left side. So we're going left side hip car. We go left knee up, out to the side, fight for internal rotation, hurdle, swoop it in, knee kicks back, external rotation, but you fight for internal too. So what I mean by that is when you go backward and you kick, you're actually externally rotating here, but you're trying to keep that foot up when you start to come back. Okay, so the movement changes very quickly from going in external rotation to turn the hip, and then you're fighting to keep that angle by actually pulling the hip into further internal rotation, trying to get that foot above the knee all the way around. One more time. Knee comes up, out to the side, internal, hurdle, down, kick, external, keeping that internal, and around. Nice job. We got shoulders, left shoulder. We're almost done. We got, the better you get at these, the more you can put into them. So really you get to choose how hard you want to go. So I'll do a harder version on this shoulder to show you just how intentional you can make it. And really, this is just to show you that this whole time you can kind of pick and choose how much effort you want to put into your cars. If you want to relax and kind of just loosen up, great. If you want to dig in and make this more training, you can. So this shoulder blade is actually not supposed to move all that much. That's shoulder and spine, shoulder blade and spine. That's me pulling up. It actually is not supposed to move. So when we lift, I'm not pushing my shoulder all the way up. It's staying where it is. I'm trying to use my actual glenohumeral joint, just this ball and socket right here. We're not using the shoulder blade at all. So we're going up and reaching. Internal rotation means that shoulder does not cave. That shoulder blade does not roll forward. It stays right where you put it. You're going to continue all the way back and around. When you end up here, you're fully internally rotated, but you're not dumping that shoulder. You're trying to pull it back. And then you go to the sky. Same thing. Your shoulder doesn't dump. It stays right where it is, high as you can go. You unwind. And down. Okay. The other thing to pay attention to is if you're opening up to the sky, you're going to try and pull your torso toward the floor more so you stay more engaged. One more time. Shoulder goes up. Internal rotation all the way around. And then when we reverse, we go straight up and around. Beautiful. Nice job. Whew. I don't know if we did standing hip cars. We didn't. I skipped so much stuff. No one even said anything. So we're going to do standing shoulder cars. How we do that? Same exact thing we did kneeling. We're going to take this right leg. If you want to hold on to something, you can. Otherwise, you can use this to balance. We go into flexion, external rotation, and we try to hug this into our midline. Hips don't move. You're going to open this up to the sky. You're going to pull that knee a little higher if you can. And then you're going to internally rotate, kick your neighbor. Sorry, I almost fell. You're going to go up and in, out to the side, turn that to full internal, hurdle, and around. And then you kick back, hurdle, internal the whole way, and down. And the idea is we're trying to work all the muscles in the hip. The better you are at this, the less you'll have to move. So for me, I'm actually not bad at doing this with no assistance, but my other hip is moving a little bit. So it does help to kind of pull into stuff. If you have a chair, table, whatever you got, it will help. Okay, one more time, up and in, out to the side, rotate, hurdle, and then back. We're gonna kick, hurdle, up, and around. And then we got other side. You're going up and in, out, hurdle, around. Notice how much more reliant I am on my right hip for this. I'm completely kicked over. So some of that has to do with my own hip issues, but you're trying to stay as upright as you can. So we kick out, up, and across. One more time, up and in, one sweeping motion, out to the side, knee comes up, internal rotation, and then we kick back, out to the side, up, and across. Nice work. So if you notice you're getting pinchy in some of these spots, it most likely means that we need to create more space for those joints to move. So for instance, a lot of times you'll find people transition from here to here and they have no idea what to do. And it's probably because they lack internal rotation. A lot of times that's the cause for a lot of stuff with the shoulder. I'll show you from the back really quick. When you go like this and you start to turn, if you start to see this motion where the shoulder blade starts to rock, it's because it's hard for your shoulder to internally rotate on its own. And so every time you try to do that, you actually call on that shoulder blade to elevate to make room for the shoulder. This is one of the most common things we see in the gym. If someone's doing push-ups, you'll see that rocking forward. If they're pulling, you'll see that rocking forward. If they're doing bench press and they're coming down, you'll see that shoulder rock. And the whole point is, if you don't have internal rotation here, there's a good chance that your shoulder doesn't have enough room to move. And also, people tend to lack extension, so going behind the body. So those two things together, especially going backward, you'll usually see people do something like this because their shoulder doesn't actually work. You're trying to separate the shoulder and the shoulder blade so that stuff works better. If you get better at this, you'll get better at training. So all this stuff applies back in everything you do in the gym. Everyone here that I know does something a little bit different. Their goals are all different. It doesn't matter because this is all relevant to everyone's goals, which is basically to move better. If you can move better, you'll be able to train better. You can get bigger, stronger, faster, all the above. So that's why I like this. That's why I adopted it, is because it makes sense no matter what you're doing or who you are. It's just applicable to literally everyone. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed. There's some of this stuff, obviously, it's harder to teach in person, but I can only do so much with Zoom. If you ever have questions though, like after this, like you're like, what the heck were we doing? What was the point? I can stay here for 5-10 minutes and explain it. So you're welcome to stay and talk with me after. But I just want to help and make sure people are getting the most out of this and that things make sense. So I know it was quicker class in terms of like, we didn't spend a ton of time, sitting in one position and digging in, but hopefully you could maybe learn something about the intention of cars or moving stuff from the ankle to the, patella and everything in between. So thank you again. If you have questions, let me know. And hopefully you feel looser. I know I do, especially my back. So everything feels a little bit better.